Puss in Boots, my Bootsy, was a lifelong indoor cat until she wasn't. She followed the afternoon sun across the living room rug, never missed her litter box in the laundry room, never marked the house as her territory because it was just hers. She loved me when I was down, depressed because my boss was a real jerk, or Frank just, ugh. When Bootsy sensed I was unhappy, she would come and butt my leg with her head. If she was in another room, even way off in our bedroom, and I'd call her, she'd come running and leap into my lap. Very uncat-like, I know, but that was my Bootsy. She turned her nose up at open doors, walked royally past them, regal tail in the air. She'd sit on the kitchen counter while I loaded the dishwasher and watched the occasional robin in the apple tree in the backyard. She'd leap on the hall table to watch the mail carrier. She always stepped daintily over the priceless Haviland dish my mother had kept in her front hall to drop her keys in which I still used for mine. Bootsy was an indoor cat until that Saturday morning when Frank was carrying in the groceries and my dear Tabby, my heart, shot across the kitchen floor, tangled briefly under Frank's feet, and was gone forever. She flew like this orange streak out beyond the garage doors and disappeared around the juniper bushes. Frank, I cried, Bootsy's just escaped. It's spring, he said. She probably had an itch. She'll saunter back to her indoor kingdom, belly full of birds and cat sex. But she didn't. Online, please. Posters on the bulletin board at the grocery. She was gone. My Bootsy. Forever.
I drove home from work through the low ground that lay between downstairs and the suburbs where we lived on a bluff over Lake Michigan. Fog drifted in wisps across the road, rising from the wetlands that no clever developer had been able to find a use for. As the road dipped lower, the fog became a dense yellow cloud that filled my headlights, and I slowed to a crawl. The road rose back up toward my house, and as I got to the crest of my street, the fog lifted, and I broke through into a crystal clear night with a full, low-hanging werewolf moon. A strange car sat in the driveway. I pushed the garage door opener and drove inside next to the sleek red Silica. Inside the house, the brilliant moon illuminated everything. And I went through the kitchen to our bedroom without turning on any lights. In the dark bedroom, backlit by the moonlight, were the silhouettes of two men, naked, kissing, moonlight shining on their bare shoulders. My dear, I said. Get out, he growled, and letting go of the other man, he took a step toward me. I ran back through the house, picking this up off the kitchen counter to defend myself. I got to the guest bathroom and I locked myself in. Stay there, my husband yelled, and then banged on the door, hard, with his fist. And I did. 4 hours. Finally, I heard the front door slam and the strange car pull out of the driveway. When they came out at last, the moonlight was gone. The house was dark. My husband was asleep in our bed, face turned to the wall. The next morning, he refused to talk about what had happened in the dark the night before. Completely refused to talk to me.
My lawyer means just what she says. No fault divorce. We divide everything. She says marital assets. Right down the middle. That's right. We're married. We inherited. You want a divorce. So I'll take my half of it all. That's the law, Dennis. You inherited your father's house last year. He was a dear old man, deaf as a rock. And I know you loved him. So I eased up a bit. I told my lawyer I didn't want to hurt you. But then I found you took our chess set and taught her our game. Oh, yes. I know your secrets, your tricks. You inherited the house in the last fiscal year, and it's going to appear in our last joint tax return. So it's going to be part of the settlement. You have what you want. You'll be free without recriminations. But you want to be friends? And you want your father's house too. That's so 2020. Well, you can just pay me for my half or give me the whole thing. Take what you get, Dennis. I didn't tell any of our friends what a jerk you are or what kind of a whore you've taken up with. Oh, yes. Didn't say a thing. But our friends want the details. They want me to tell them how awful you are. They want to cluck and be sympathetic. And all they want in return are a few stories. Did he bring her to your house? Did he fuck her in your bed? I know what I could do. I wouldn't need to say too much. Just a tear, a catch in my throat, a few juicy details, and that will confirm how badly you treated me. Do you know how much attention I would get if I just shared my devastation? I'm not your wife anymore, Dennis. I'm not even your friend. And I'm taking half of your marital assets. The chess set is all yours.
I used to love these, but I couldn't afford to eat them. Now, cancer means it doesn't matter. Weight will just melt away, won't it? But they don't taste so good anymore. Nothing does. To me, it's just bridge. 52 cards, 4 suits. I know the rules. I like to win. And I like praying with friends, Ellen and Joel, talking, drinking wine, a pleasant evening. They all seem to take it so seriously, though. Not Ellen so much, but the men. Joel gets so intense, especially when it's my turn to bed or play. And my husband, Carl. It's like they forget everything but the game. The way Carl gets when he's acting, as if that's all that matters. That character and what he's supposed to want. I suppose that's what makes him so good. Joel and his sports. As if it matters whether the Tigers win or lose. And the Lions? Losing is so 2020. And Carl, when he's playing Ralph Nickleby, or now with Edward II, when I run lines with him, he becomes them. He sounds like them, not himself. I read the other characters and it sounds just pitiful. Not like them at all. Just me saying their words. And when they die, Ralph Nickleby or Edward, Carl feels it as if he really is dying. And he has beautiful things to say and gestures to make. And it all means something. Ellen's a player, like Carl. But there's always a part of her watching. She doesn't take any of it seriously. She doesn't have to hide being afraid of things the way I do. Maybe that's why she's so confident. I'm so lucky. But I take everything seriously. And I'm just me. Always. Playing bridge, reading lines for Carl, dying. Not saying anything out of the ordinary. Not meaning anything else by it. Just playing with pieces of pasteboard. Just reading other people's words. Just being taken. Diminished. Cell by cell. From inside. Just dying.
The lake doesn't always freeze completely, but now and then a nice fisherman sets up out there, mostly just a stool and a cooler, sometimes a space heater. You know how inland lakes are. The ice is never predictable. This guy, he looked about 30. He's fishing out there in a deep spot with his Irish setter lolloping around him. I was cooking breakfast, spam and eggs. That's so 2020. I wasn't really watching the lake, but suddenly I saw the dog break through the ice, and the guy jumped up and tried to haul the dog out, and he broke through too. No one else saw it, just me. I ran down to the lake and out onto the ice, still holding my spatula. The dog was scrabbling at the edge of the ice. I was afraid I'd break through too, but I dropped my spatula and yanked the dog's collar, more to get him out of the way than anything else. The guy pushed up from behind and out came the dog. Then I tried to reach the guy, but the ice was creaking and the dog was barking and jumping around behind me. I told the guy I'd go for help, but he said, "No, I really need help now." His voice was calm, like he was asking me for a cup of coffee. But he was panting and something seemed to be pulling him under. I yelled as loudly as I could. I hoped someone would hear me or might be looking out a window. No one came. I could see across the lake, houses, cars on the road, moving along in the sunshine. I pulled off my flannel shirt, then I slithered on my belly, holding one shirt sleeve. I tried to get the other sleeve to him. We were looking each other's eyes the whole time and talking quietly, even with the dog barking. "Can you grab it?" I can't seem to reach it. The ice started to crack under me, so I scrambled back so I wouldn't go in too. I turned and found my spatula. I figured it might reach him, but when I looked back, he was gone. I had the spatula in my hand. My shirt was lying there. The dog was scratching at my leg. The guy never made a sound. He drowned. He drowned. When the emergency crew came, they hauled him out. His feet were tangled in weeds. I saved the dog,